myself is Divya Bahal, Assistant Professor in Chemical Engineering Department at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. The subject that we are going to continue is petroleum refining and petrochemicals. So moving forward with this lecture, we will start a new topic, that is your petrochemical industries. Okay, so first of all, what are petrochemicals? These are the chemicals that are obtained from petroleum and natural gas, right? So about 5% of the oil and gas is consumed each year in the production of these petrochemical products. Now in first lecture also about the subject, we studied that petrochemicals are used in daily life. Okay, the very important example of petrochemicals are polythene, rubber. So what are these? These are the petrochemicals. Okay, then other applications of what? In paints, in leather industry. Okay, the artificial leather, Rexine, what is that? That is an artificial leather. It's a petrochemical product. So these are some of the examples of your petrochemical products. So hence you can conclude that they are very important part. Now what are the feedstock of petrochemicals? Okay, the typical feedstocks are from C1 to C4 compounds. You're having your petrochemical products. Okay, the feedstock are like, if C1 compound we are talking about, so in C1 compound your feedstock is methane and the synthesis gases. If C2 compounds are taken into account, then ethylene and acetylene are your compounds which are used to make petrochemicals. Then in C3, propylene is your main reactant from which you can get many amount of petrochemicals. Similarly in C4 you use butane and butenes. If talking about the aromatic compounds, then benzene is the prime source from which you obtain your petrochemicals. So starting with the C1 petrochemicals, so you can say that methane is the major source, okay, from which carrying out many other reactions you can obtain your petrochemicals. For example, here you can see that when your methane is subjected to oxygen, you get your acetylene. Now your acetylene is used to make what? Acrylonitrile. Then it is used to make vinyl chloride or acetate. Then it is used to make chloroplane, right? So when your methane, then it is subjected to air, you get your hydrogen cyanide, which is again used to make acrylonitrile. Similarly, when your methane, if it is reacted with steam, you get your hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Okay, further reaction with steam, you get your hydrogen and carbon dioxide, which is then further used to make like ammonia. Okay, then further it reacts to give you methanol. So these are what? These are the precursors of your methane. Okay, like methanol. Methanol is obtained from what? Methane. Further, methanol is used to make what? Formaldehyde. What is formaldehyde? Again, it is a petrochemical. Okay, your methanol is again reacted to give you chloroform, methylene dichloride. Okay, so these are what? These are the certain petrochemicals which you are obtaining from what? Methane. At the end, what is methane? Methane is it's a component, it's hydrocarbon obtained in natural gas. Okay, so it's a product of what? Petroleum. So this way, this many petrochemicals can be obtained from your methane. So first very important kind of your petrochemical is methanol. So here we will study about methanol formation from your synthesis gas. Now first of all, what is synthesis gas? It is mixture of hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Now when this gas is subjected to high pressure and moderate temperature, then it converts into methanol. So your reaction is what? Your desired reaction is reaction of carbon monoxide with excess hydrogen to give you methanol. So your methanol composition is what? Formula is what? CH3OH. Here the side reactions which occurs are formation of CH2 and H2O gases. Similarly CH2 plus CO gas. Okay, these are the formation, your side reactions which occur. Now the all reactions here are exothermic in nature. Okay, and the undesired reaction is what? Formation of alcohol and hydrocarbon. So you have to keep your operating conditions in that way such that this undesirable reaction do not occur. Okay, alcohol like other alcohols like ethanol. Okay, now the catalyst used here is mixed catalyst made of oxides of zinc, chromium, manganese, aluminium. Okay, so these are the catalysts which are used. Now the flow diagram is very simple. So you are starting with the synthesis gas, okay, which is then sent to the reactor. So the pressure condition is what? You are keeping your pressure as 200 to 350 atmosphere, okay, and the temperature condition is moderate. Now from that you get your crude methanol. Then it is subjected to KMNO4, potassium permanganate treatment. So we will study why permanganate treatment is required. Then it is then sent to ether tower. Okay, see what I told you, side reactions occur. So ether is one of your side product which you are obtaining. Then it is sent to the methanol tower. From your top you obtain your methanol, and from the bottom you are taking out your water. So that way your process occurs. Okay. Now the major engineering problem is that your operation is carried out at very high temperature, high pressure. Sorry. So if high pressure is there, so as per safety point of view, this is very hard to maintain that high pressure condition. So to withstand such high pressure, thick walled reactor is needed. Okay. So hence it adds into your fixed cost. Now the undesired reactions of formation of alcohol reduces the yield of methanol. So undesired reactions, what I talk about, like here you can see that heavy alcohols, those are your formed because of the undesired reaction. Now other impurities formed here are ketones, aldehydes, for which you require potassium permanganate. So here you can see that your crude methanol, first of all it is treated with potassium permanganate, such that the impurities like ketone, aldehyde, which are formed in very minute amount, okay, so those are treated out. So this way your methanol is formed. Now what are the properties and uses? So first of all, your methanol, it is a colorless liquid that boils at 64.96 degrees Celsius, right? Its freezing point is what? Minus 93.9 degrees Celsius. Now it's explosive in nature and burns with a non-luminous flame, right? And it is completely miscible in water, and it is used as a rocket fuel, as a solvent, and as an antifreeze component. Okay, so this was about your methanol. Now the next topic is your formaldehyde production. Again, your formaldehyde, the main source is what? The C1 petrochemical used is here methane. From methane only you are forming your formaldehyde, but the reactant here is what? Methanol. So you can see the precursor reaction. First of all, from methane you are making what? Methanol, and then from methanol you are making your formaldehyde. So the reactions are, two reactions occur in your reactor. First is the oxidation of methanol, which gives you formaldehyde, and the pyrolysis of methanol, which gives you again formaldehyde and hydrogen. So the formula of formaldehyde is what? HCHO. Okay, CHO is where your aldehyde group. Now the undesired reaction here is reaction of methanol with oxygen to give you water and carbon dioxide. Okay, the catalyst used here is silver or zinc oxide, right? The operating conditions are what? Your temperature is about 500 to 600 degrees Celsius and the pressure is about atmospheric pressure. So this is your flow diagram, right? So you can see that first of all you're treating your methanol with your air, okay? Because oxidation is to be carried out, you can see that. So heated air is there because again pyrolysis reaction also occurs, okay? Now in a catalytic reactor your reaction occurs, okay? Now it is then sent to the Leyden strippers where you're taking out your gases like CO2 is taken out, okay? And H2, hydrogen gases, these gases are taken out. Finally from the alcohol stripper you're taking out your unreacted methanol vapor, and from the bottom you get your formaldehyde 37% solution, okay? It is this solution, it is with water because we saw here water is also formed, right? So this was about your methanol production. Now the uses of formaldehyde. First of all, your formaldehyde is stable only in water. So hence you can see here that in your product you get your 37% solution of formaldehyde with water because it is only stable in water. Okay. So your maximum limit of obtaining formaldehyde is what? About 37% only. Now your formalin, what is it? If your formaldehyde is stabilized with 3 to 15% methanol, then that is called as formalin. Your formalin is generally used in preserving dead bodies, okay? It is used as a preservative. It is also used in the manufacturing of resins, okay? Then it is also used as a building material and for the insulation purpose. The next topic is your C2 petrochemicals, okay? Here we will talk about the petrochemicals which are obtaining from C2 hydrocarbons, okay? So the major source of petrochemicals here is what? Ethylene. Okay, so here you can see that how ethylene is obtained. Okay, it is obtained naturally from the refinery cracked gases. Again, when you carry out the cracking of ethane and propane, then ethylene is one of your product. So here you can see that how when your ethylene is subjected to different reactions, okay, you get your petrochemicals. Like example, when chlorination is done of ethene, you get your ethylene dichloride. Further reaction of ethylene dichloride gives you vinyl chloride. You have vinyl chloride, PVC. It is one of the best example of your petrochemical which has wide range of application. Okay. Similarly, you can see that when it is subjected to oxidation, when it is reacted with oxygen, ethylene oxide is obtained. Okay. And it further reaction with ammonia, it gives you ethanolamines. So you can see that how so many types of petrochemicals are formed from your ethylene. Now here we will study about, first of all, ethylene dichloride production. Okay. So you saw when your ethylene is reacted with your chlorine, then you get your ethylene dichloride. So the reaction is very simple, chlorination of ethylene dichloride. So your ethylene dichloride is what? C2H4Cl2. So your reaction is what? C2H4 plus Cl2, it gives you C2H4Cl2. Right? Now the undesired products formed in this reactions are propylene dichloride and polychloroethane. Okay, so these are the undesired products which are formed. Now this reaction occurs in liquid phase only. Okay, where your ethylene dichloride acts as a liquid phase reactant. The catalyst used is ferric chloride or ethylene dibromide. Now your operating conditions are what? Your temperature is about 50 degrees Celsius and your pressure is about 1.5 to 2 atm. The reaction is exothermic in nature. Now here note important point that your crude product is to be washed with caustic soda so as to remove the traces of HCl. Okay, of course, as it is a chlorination reaction, some amount of HCl will also be formed. Now moving forward to the flow diagram, so you can see that chlorine and ethylene is first of all sent to your reactor where you are also feeding your catalyst. Okay, now from the top you are taking out your gases. Okay, so here one more important point is that you get your product in two forms. Okay, ethylene dichloride is obtained in vapor form also and in liquid form also. So from top you are getting your vapor form and then you are subjecting into refrigeration. So because of refrigeration, as much as product is extracted of the gases. Okay, so you get, because of refrigeration, you get your liquid ethylene dichloride and other gases like you can see unreacted ethylene, okay, methane, H2. These gases are scrubbed off in a HCl scrubber. Okay, HCl is also taken out from the vapor phase, and from the bottom you are getting your, and from the bottom of your reactor you are getting your liquid ethylene dichloride. Now this is again sent to your washer, okay, where you're using your 6 to 8% of your caustic soda to remove the traces of HCl which is present along with your ethylene dichloride. Now it is then sent to the settler. Okay, from the settler your crude ethylene dichloride is then sent to a fractionator where further distillation is done, and from the top you get your ethylene dichloride vapor and from the bottom you get your any other heavy end products. Okay, so this was your flow diagram of your ethylene dichloride. The uses of ethylene dichloride are, first of all, it is used as a reactant for the production of vinyl chloride. Okay, it is also used as a catalyst in the production of tetrachloroethylene. Next, it is used as a solvent in textile, metal cleaning and adhesive industries. This was about your ethylene dichloride. The next important C2 petrochemical is your vinyl chloride. So here you can see that your ethylene dichloride, it reacts to give you vinyl chloride and HCl. So important thing to note down here is that this is the reversible gas phase reaction. The catalyst uses charcoal. Okay. Now as it is reversible, so here you need to do the quenching also. So you can see the quenching is done in order to inhibit the reverse reaction. Again, what is quenching? Drastic cooling. Okay. Now the product is stabilized using a stabilizer, as vinyl chloride is highly reactive without stabilizer. Of course, as it is a reversible reaction, it is very reactive in nature, and so back product are formed. So stabilizer is also has to be added. Now the flow diagram is, first of all, your ethylene dichloride, okay, you are converting it into vapor form because your reaction is what? It's a gas phase reaction. You are vaporizing it and then you are sending it to dryer so as to remove any moisture amount. Okay, any moisture, it has to be dried off. Now this dried gas is sent to the reactor. So you can see the operating condition is what? That your temperature is about 500 degrees Celsius and your pressure is about 4 atm. Okay. Now you're heating your in your pyrolysis furnace, okay, where you are carrying out your reaction. Flue gas is used as a heating medium. Okay. Now In your furnace, your reaction occurs. Okay, this reversible reaction is taking place. Now you're sending it to quencher where drastic cooling occurs. Why? The reason of quenching is to inhibit the reverse reaction. Now, from the quencher, at the top product you're taking out as HCl, okay, and then you're sending it to vinyl still, where you're adding stabilizer into it, okay. From the top you get your vinyl chloride after adding the stabilizer. The bottom product is then sent to the EDC still, that is your ethylene dichloride still, where your unreacted ethylene dichloride is again reversed, recycled back to your main reactor. So this was the production of your vinyl chloride. Now, what are the uses of vinyl chloride? First of all, it is a monomer used in the formation of PVC, okay, polyvinyl chloride, which is used in making pipes, wire coating, packaging material, okay. So PVC is one of the most important form of your petrochemical, okay. In every aspect PVC is used. So examples are in making of boots, okay, the soles of boots, those are made by PVC. Then in packaging of medical products, water pipes, wiring and cable, right. Now industrially it is used as a extracting solvent, okay. So when you're carrying out extraction of heat sensitive material, okay, so for that purpose you're using vinyl chloride. Again, it is also used as an aerosol propellant, okay, and it is also used in making PVC and chloroacetaldehyde. So these are certain uses of vinyl chloride. Now the major engineering problem associated with this reaction, with this production, is that first of all that your reaction, it is reversible in nature, okay. So the yield of vinyl chloride is very limited, okay. Now as it is unstable, so you have to compulsorily add stabilizer to it. Now the selectivity is very poor of this reaction, okay. Again, what is selectivity? That any more other components can also be formed, okay. So suppose here we are talking about the reaction, you're at that operating condition, your ethylene dichloride, it gives vinyl chloride, and it is also possible that it may choose some different reaction pathway and some other products are formed, okay. So the problem is what? That other chlorinated products are also formed along with the vinyl chloride. So hence you can see that yield is decreasing here. So these are the certain major engineering problems associated with your vinyl chloride production. So that was for today's lecture. In next lecture we will study about ethylene oxide and some other petrochemicals. Thank you.